We could probably finish by that point.
Hello everybody, this is Ahmed Rashid once more, back here with another Exceed video. As for those of you who don't know what that game is, which does not surprise me, take a look at the intro video I put out on my channel, or any of a bazillion places you can find out about the game. With me here today is Boogie.
Hello.
He's been so generous as to agree to be recorded so we could go ahead and play some Exceed. And go ahead and introduce yourself so everyone knows who's who.
I'm a person.
What? A real human? How dare you? Anywho.
Playing Exceed for a decent while. I'm over 200 games at this point. I don't have a ton of experience with the SF set though. I've mostly played Season 2. So yeah.
Because the Street Fighter set's just come out, and there's been 2 seasons before it. Game mechanics are mostly the same, excepting the critical mechanic, of course, but the specific characters and therefore all the interactions are new to everyone. I've played a bunch of Street Fighter, but I haven't played before that, so I'm relatively new in that sense. But let's get cracking. Do you have anyone you want to play in particular, or?
I'll go for Chun-Li.
Cool. I'm toying between playing one of my frequently played mains or somebody new to me, relatively new to me. I think I'll go Ken because I love him. And
That's scary.
One thing we haven't figured out, well, I didn't figure out yet, was how do I get the move card out?
In order to just get the character card, you want to like drag it off quickly.
One card at a time. I've lost it, so I'll search the deck for it. It can't be that hard to find. He's the only one who looks like Ken. There we go. Found him. I'll rotate that to face me. That's just not right. Okay, OCD satisfied. Okay, and where is my character's move list? Because I see that you've given me yours, but I don't know where mine is.
I am bringing it up right now. There.
So that's in the other bag?
It's here. There are references that start like here and here, and then you can set them to whatever character you want.
Interesting. Okay, so that's why it was always that one season, one character, and I'm supposed to change the character. Cool. Alrighty. Well, let's get started then. I don't see the coin.
It's under the text, probably.
Ah, got it.
Tails.
Looks like you're going to choose.
I'll go first.
Sounds good to me. Draw 6. And let the games begin. So, looking at this opening hand, oh, there we go. Looking at this opening hand, a lot of good potential here. Some of these things look like they're going to be decent to start with, some less so. You know, the more I think about it, the more difficult this is going to be to record and think through while I'm in chat. I'm going to mute myself in Discord and then unmute when we need to talk. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, that works fine.
Alright,
just
exactly to the viewers and whatnot. Yeah, but obviously anything you say, feel free to say. Sorry, anything you say, feel free to say, and it'll show up in the vid when you think it's appropriate or not. Fair enough.
All right, got
Perfect. All right, yeah. So see, right off the bat, we've got the Hadouken in my opening hand, which is a good range 3 attack early, but unfortunately, it does not let me put anything. Its special ability to spam doesn't really work here because I don't have anything to trash. So I'd rather draw it a little later, probably. Then again, I could just open with it and digit, so that's probably good enough to keep. This one is a great draw card, draw 2, using its custom combo ability. So I'll keep that one. I'm gonna mulligan the axe kick. No, that's a good speed 6 at range 2, and I don't have a
You
lot of that.
mulligans 3 cards.
Speed 7 at range 1. So let's ditch the Shinryuken, which I'm not going to be able to afford anytime soon. The Tatsumaki, that I don't know what I'm going to do with just yet, and just mull those two. Mull 2, and then draw back 2, and shuffle those in. Good luck, have fun. Okay, so I now have doubles of knee bash, so I can crit that, or I can EX strike with that, or I can just utilize its ability to draw a bunch. He's attacking on turn 1 with Chun-Li. Generally, an attack on turn 1, here I'll unmute. Generally, an attack on turn 1 is going to be something that can get in range and hit, like Dive, which moves you 3 forward and hits, or something character specific. So let's go ahead and pull up the move list, see what her options are. Head Stomp looks probable, speed 5, then hits, moves 3 first, and then bashes you. But with the X, you would have to move past a hit with that. She's not going to do that with moving 3. Spinning Bird Kick gets to you, and then punches for a lot of damage. Decent range. Flipping Axe Kick could also be it. So she could be using any number of 4 or 5 speed attacks to get in and hit right now. Based on that and the amount of damage, we would want to pick something that would counter that, if possible. 4 or 5 speed attacks, and she's on the initiative. I would say we should respond with Sweep. That's the response.
Alright, so
Unfortunately,
you
go ahead.
break the speed tie, hit for 4, and I'll choose to retreat 1.
She's going to stay well out of range with her only ranged attack. That's going to hit for 4. I'll take the full amount. And this is going to go to the discard. Range 1, 2, 3, swing and a miss. And then it's to me. I will counter strike.
Alright,
There's a game
so
with that name, I'm pretty sure.
it's almost definitely Hadoken, unless you're just blocking. And it's not crit, so it's only gonna deal 4. So yeah, this should work.
So, much as he's predicted, Hadouken! As a rule of thumb in Exceed, ranged attacks that have range 3 or more generally are going to be at speed 4. It's unusual for them to be much faster. So most attacks that can go off before them are going to get their chance to, well, go off before them. I'm going to be dealing 4 damage, which is not enough to get through the guard.
So I advance 3 and then hit you back for 5.
Which I will take with much aplomb.
The big disadvantage to this is that I lose the amazing boost on Spin Bird Kick, which is a massive loss.
Ignore guard with immediate strike. Holy crap. Okay, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Virtually guarantees you can pierce a guard and just stun if you have a sufficiently high priority attack. Even a range 1 grab is good there. Oh, I have to decide before you, I think, actually, because I initiated the attack, whether or not I'm going to be using Hadouken to the top of my deck or putting it engage. And the reason it matters is you can choose whether you wish to push or pull.
Well, I didn't move past you.
Oh, so that doesn't trip. Okay.
So
Based on our relative position, it doesn't seem reasonable to think I'm going to get to fire off this fireball anytime soon. I could save it by putting it on top of my deck anyway, but I feel like that would slow down my game too much. So I'm going to actually be putting Hadouken into my gauge. And that ends my turn. Over-explained. Okay. So looking at our position, Ken's big deal is he wants to be striking when your
I feel
opponent...
pretty comfortable just striking here.
and gaining advantages by doing so. This move gets +2 speed when I use it to start an attack. It doesn't have that benefit to respond. So to try and do something here that's going to be, it's really tough to get a read in this situation what he's planning to do. Let's pick something that's generally going to be effective and just go from there. There are a handful of attacks at speed 6 that work at this range, cross, of course, being one of them. So that really comes down to how sure I am you have or don't have cross. I'm going to take it on a gamble that if you're willing to attack into me, you probably do have cross. If you have cross, you're going to be hitting and retreating several spaces, so I would need to chase to even try to catch up. And it's probably not something I'm going to be able to do. So it's either no guts, no glory, or all guts, all glory. I don't know how confident I am in my read of cross. There are a lot of other possible moves you could be doing. Spike at this range is an option. Sweep is certainly an option. And so instead, I'm going to try this. Dang it, no guts, no glory, right? In the case of cross, this is useless, but this would be effective against anything else. So yeah, let's go with this. It was cross, so it's a good thing we didn't go with anything too bizarre. She's going to hit at range 2 and back off significantly. I'll take the damage of 3. But this is going to swing and miss. And in so doing, I haven't burnt any particularly valuable cards. So now it's to me. I am going to use custom combo to boost. I think the usual way is to rotate this. Is there a quick button to rotate 90 degrees?
If you like on the top right of the screen,
Mm-hmm.
to the left of our names,
Mm-hmm.
there's a little 15. If you click that, it'll increase, and that's your quick button.
Nice, perfect, because I generally tap and don't quarter turn. Okay, so custom combo will give me the quick 2 draw, +1 for end of turn. So I refill off that, and I can potentially gain advantage and keep the chain going if I can hit. Big if, given the range between us right now.
Alright. I'll exceed.
Chun-Li in super mode gets to boost and build range while boosting. She also gets to retreat while boosting. So basically, she's going to run away until she's ready, and then she's going to wallop you.
Is very strong.
How very Chun-Li of her. I could choose a variety of ways to close distance here, and I think closing distance is going to be my best bet to get back in this game. Ken's inherent ability lets me close and then lose no tempo by drawing 2 cards, one for the turn and one for his action. But in this situation, I'm very concerned about just how much power Chun-Li is able to project from this range. So I'm actually going to burn Run to catch up right away and advance 3.
Fair enough.
That's draw 1 for turn and get out of chat window to do it. Booyah. Okay, it's to you. I'm definitely on a health disadvantage here, and that means, I mean, we're not yet at the critical under 5, under 10 hit points, so I still have some flexibility, but I need to be careful how much of that life resource I throw away.
I will simply prepare.
So now we're 5 to 5 on options, and I can decide what's the most important way to proceed from here. A lot of potential as, well, actually, let me go off mic real quick, go over my options. So I definitely want to try to get in some damage here, because I've been on the back foot this whole game. I've got a 5 damage and 4 damage attack that I'm pretty sure either of which will hit. Further, I'll retain advantage, so it's a good 1-2 combo, thanks to this boost. If I go in with this as a crit, speed 6, close 1 and pound, ignore armor, I can probably stun her out with it. Follow that up with Shoryuken, which at range 1 would be 7 speed. I'm probably going to hit with both. That would put me at 2 gauge, and that's the best case scenario. I think that's what I have to do right now. Okay, so as we discussed, let's go ahead and strike here with this as a crit.
Alright, so considering that's crit, it's probably Axe Kick or Shoryuken. You could be bluffing, but I'm willing to accept that risk and just play the thing that counters both of those.
So I misunderstood this card, and that's going to cost me. Yes, I was in fact Axe Kick. I'm going to close distance in advance of sweep. It ignores armor, but it does not ignore guard, so I'm not going to stun you out regardless. Still, 5 damage is nothing to sneeze at, and I'm quite happy with that outcome.
You gain advantage.
And
So
I will retain advantage, yes, after this attack. And sweep will hurt. I will take 6 damage in response, range 1, 2, and 3, and lose a card from hand at random.
you want me to just pull it?
Yeah, that's what I'm used to
Here,
doing in real life, so I just play it that
I
way.
think I can do a cool thing. Let me try.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I can shuffle your hand like that. Cool.
sure.
Um,
Alas, there goes
yeah.
Shoryuken. We knew him well. So, with the loss of Shoryuken, my strategy here will need to change, because that was the obvious follow-up. With advantage retained.
Well, you are completely fine with that strike still, being able to gain advantage and not trade down too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not ideal, but it's not that bad, really.
No, I'm happy with the trade. It's just I was going to Shoryuken as a follow-up with advantage, and that would have helped me tie up the life, most likely.
Yeah,
At least
that's
somewhat.
fair.
Um, at this point, I can choose to press my advantage. I don't think that's wise, because if I strike into you now, my hand size will be down to 2, and that's iffy and risky. There's quite a few things you could do here, make my day more miserable. I think I'm just going to draw to up to 5. It's to you.
Alright. I will boost this and retreat with my unique ability.
Mm-hmm. So, bonus speed, and on hit, gain advantage, and add this card to gauge. Further notable is that because Chun-Li, even her range 1 attacks are now range 2 attacks. So, between that plus the bonus speed, she could potentially do a lot of damage to me. I think I'm going to tech out your boost,
Fair enough.
because I have less use for dive, and getting rid of it to reset the speed differential makes me happier. I can deal with your range more than I can deal with your speed right now.
Is this a horrible plan?
Of course, you should try it.
Maybe. Let's go for it. EX
Alright,
attack with crit.
okay, so an EX attack with crit. Crits can always be a bluff, but I doubt that's the case. Why burn energy on a bluff? So let's look at all the things that crit here at 0 energy. Lightning legs. Actually, we should do better. Let's take a look at the discard here and see what, if anything, she's played out of her abilities. Looks like Koken, Spinning Bird, and Head Stomp are definitely not coming at me right now. Okay, Koken, Spinning Bird, and Head Stomp. So that leaves Lightning Legs and Flipping Axe Kick. Most likely, it would be odd to crit Lightning Legs, because if you did that, the only value would be to keep one of them on the top of your deck, and it doesn't seem like a terribly great, not worth burning energy to maintain, since you have no boosts in play. Therefore, I'm going to presume it's Flipping Axe Kick. Speed 6, plus 2 power, before advance 2, with a wide range. If that's the case, what is my best response? 5 damage is a reasonable amount no matter how you slice it. I think and it's going to be 5, correct? Because plus,
It'll
no,
be 6 with
6 because of
EX.
EX. So Given that, I think my best bet here, since I'm not going to be able to stop it, would be to block it.
Alright, I am completely fine with that.
So, situation read correctly, she will go first, because block is very, very slow. It is a block. The 6 damage coming in will be reduced to 4 by the base armor, and we will discard Gurin Senpukaku to full block that, because my life is a resource I can ill afford to use up right now.
I'm very happy to see that Ultra gone. Its boost is extremely powerful.
It's a great boost, no question about it, but right now I'm concerned about maintaining hand advantage as well.
That's fair.
I will respond with a strike of my own.
Alright. I can feel pretty happy just playing this.
Ugh. So this is a natural counter to this, and this is actually an interaction that's worth taking a moment for people who play Exceed and don't get Exceed yet to understand. At range 1, the thing that you most likely are trying to do is go first with the highest speed attack you can, which is speed 7. Well, the highest printed normal speed of 7. This is a quick jab / grab and throw. From this, I can stun out any slower attack someone's attempting and throw them away for any range 1 or 2 they're trying to hit me with. Unfortunately, focus is just a beautiful counter to it. It says, I'll take your damage and reduce it to almost nothing. You can't throw me, and I'm going to hit you, and I get my card back. So at this range, the thing I least want to see is focus. The thing I most want to see is something like assault, I guess, or what's the speed 6? Cross?
Cross,
The
yeah.
opponent trying to hit with one thing a little too slow, but it was the best they had, and I can still just plow through it. Or best of all, a tie where I go first on initiative, and I just counter theirs. The good news is, since I do go first, I still get my gauge, and gauge is ultimately the most powerful thing I have going for me right now. But my health total has gotten pretty low. Alright, go ahead. So reduce to 1, and I take 4.
It is worth noting on the topic of range 1 that neither spike nor dive, the normal counters to focus and sweep, work at range 1. They will both miss, meaning that focus and sweep become extremely safe there.
That was my attack, so it's to you.
Alright. I will change cards, spending 3 force.
Took me a long time to learn the value of doing this, and it has completely changed my game to understand that cards are a resource, discards are a resource, and health is a resource, but so is energy. And if you save all your energy only for crits and exceeding, that works when you're, riding high and winning, but when you're down, you've got to do everything you can to get ahead. And when you're ahead, sometimes it pays to just muscle further. I'm going to actually exceed in this situation because that, with Ken, does what I need it to. I'll get 2 cards off of this, I believe. Yes, 1 for turn, 1 for the exceed. And also sets me up to be able to do Ken, which is close, draw, and strike turn after turn pretty consistently. Unfortunately, this pays off much better when I have 15 or more health, because that means I can afford to miss or get hit a few times. I'm okay with it in this situation because with Chun-Li's base ability of retreat but gain range constantly, staying close to her is going to be my bread and butter. It's due.
I have some interesting options here.
Suddenly, I was scared.
I think I shall take the most boring one of prepare.
Ain't nothing wrong with preparing. Yeah, this is tricky. I'm going to go off mic a sec to explain the situation. So what I want to do is Ken, which is close in, draw, and then potentially strike. Problem is, all I have are low speed attacks in my hand, so I'd probably be outspeeded on anything I attempt to attack with. I could just draw 2, going to 6, or I could discard this, going to 3. I'm not going to hit 4 gauge anytime soon this match. And Rushdown style close 3 is not likely to be useful as long as we stay near each other, and considering I intend to continue closing as often as possible, I probably won't get to use it. I have 2 very good defensive options. So based on that, I'm just going to draw 2. Alright, back on mic. Okay, let's try that again. Draw 2. There we go. It's to you. Ooh, interesting. This gives me a very interesting range option as well, should I
Makes
find
this
myself far away.
situation somewhat interesting.
This less so. How do you mean?
In that my options are weird and awkward, even though I'm in a win position. I think that I'm just going to strike, though.
So how do we respond to this horrific incursion? Probably like this.
By playing a good card.
Let's try that.
Alright, fair enough.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, I advance, hit you for 3 with your armor. And I can't move you, then you hit me back for 4.
Yep. Gauge up and draw 1 for me. Which
Although I'd normally be unhappy with trading down, in a situation like this where I have such a life advantage, I'm mostly fine.
No, that's very reasonable for you to be good with. There's a lot of potential problems I could run into here, but I feel pretty under pressure to make something happen right now. The longer I wait, the worse this game is for me. So we're going to use... Do we do Ken or do we not do Ken here? I think we do Ken. So we're going to use Ken's ability. Draw. Wait, hang on. Close 1 and draw. And then I may strike. I choose to do so.
Alright, I shall Wild Swing. I will choose to invalidate that. Ow.
I have the speed advantage, I will stun you out, and I will hit that hard. So take 4 damage.
Oh, I've taken it.
Excellent. And pass turn. So that gives me a little gauge to work with. I can potentially crit stuff again.
Why not?
We see a boost come.
Parry.
3 normals, or reveal their hand and discard all normals. Fair. So this is probably the easiest way to reveal my hand. To which I'm forced to now pitch the assault and the block. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I get my turn draw. No, log those cards in a note, actually.
Wait, say that again?
I'm just logging your cards on the side.
Ah!
So I can remember them.
No, that makes sense. And it is an interesting situation for me because on the one hand, I would normally like to just discard as much of this as I can to not give you that advantage. On the other hand, I am so strapped for time in this situation, I almost feel as though I don't have the time to pitch everything. I think the best thing to do in this situation is discard Hadouken in favor of equipping this True Master.
That's quite dangerous.
So now I have my speed back. I probably can get initiative off with the move you know I have, Axe Kick.
Axe Kick.
Of course, knowing that I know that you know that I know, you can probably come up with a better counter, but 7 power is not to be sneezed at in most situations, so here's to hoping. And of course, there's always the wild strike potential if I think that you have me.
Well, that's a major problem. I pretty much can't contest axe kick at this point.
That's kind of what I was hoping would be your answer. Not gonna lie to you.
But even with like my deck, there's not a
Oh,
lot
I
in there
haven't
that
looked through
actually
that.
does anything to it.
With the boost, or you mean even without the boost?
With the boost,
Yeah,
since
because
it's going to stun, focus, and sweep, and it's going to be speed 8, which is faster than anything I have.
mm-hmm.
Uh, which makes it so that I'm kind of out of options. I think that my best thing is to prepare. Just
To
have
try
more
and be
cards
ahead
in
for
my
the
hand.
next attack. Makes sense. So here's where I have to really ask myself the tight question. Do I strike into you to cash in on my +2/+2, but then risk having to deal with the follow-up, which I don't have an answer for or not? And this is something which I love for Ken because I can choose to do both. I'm going to use Ken's ability. Close one, done. Draw a card, done. And then choose whether or not I wish to strike. It's not as efficient as using a boost and then something else, or having more flexibility, but it lets me decide whether or not I'm in a good position to follow a strike. I kind of like what I've got right now, and I don't know that I can deal with your follow-up to this necessarily. So yeah, I'm going to end my turn here and draw a card since I did not strike. It's to you.
Interesting.
Because I'm fairly confident in my ability to win this even on the, not the back foot, what do you call it? The receiving end. And while you do know a couple of the cards in my hand still potentially from your Master Parry, by the way, I've never seen that boost used and it's fantastic. I can see why it costs 2 force.
Yeah, it's not that bonkers of a boost, but it's quite nice.
And I'm not saying it's OP or nothing, just yeah, it's good. Ooh, that's interesting.
I
Uh,
will
mhm.
boost Spike.
So, okay. Ken, close, draw one, and decide. With that kind of super armor, you're probably planning a counterattack that would go through what I've got and still deal damage. There are definitely things that hit with 3 guard added on. But can't I can't play my entire game afraid of what you might have, so I am going to strike here. I've already done the can, correct?
Yes.
Alright, good. So I will shuffle my hand. How do I shuffle? Just highlight all my cards and
Yeah,
shuffle?
highlight it and press R.
It's not. There we go. And then. Okay. So you don't know exactly what. Because I'm assuming you can see which card I move otherwise.
Yeah.
And then we will strike.
With crit, I'm assuming.
Mm, nah, I don't think I need it.
Oh,
I mean,
interesting.
unless you have. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me double check. Yeah, no, I think I'm good.
Well, in that case, the axe kick is only speed 6. Uh, are there any Shoryus left? No. Uh, so yeah, I feel like this covers my worst case.
It does not.
Oh, alright, so that'll be a lot of damage, but it'll be
So
fine. Okay,
this was my hope, was to not use up energy yet and bring us to an end game where we were close enough that I would still have a chance.
so yeah, I deal you 3 and move you 1 or 2. Uh,
Where will I be?
Yeah, I can go ahead and move you over here.
That is fine. I will hit back for 8 damage, bringing you down to 4 and forcing a random discard. Which
7 with my spike armor.
Oh, that's correct. Thank you. That's
Off the assault.
perfect. And I will ditch that, put that there, and pass turn back. Because now there's just all manner of possible options.
This should be fine. I will boost Kikoken.
Ignore armor, now strike, okay? And a strike is coming in. Alrighty, so here it comes down to this. I need to have something which is going to help me survive in this situation.
Your armor is ignored, so it's going to be difficult to find that.
No, survive. Yeah. So I've got to figure what it is that I'm dealing with, and I have no idea what hit is coming in. Probably something rapid, because you're probably trying to hit me and kill me fast. Personal moves are mostly at speed 5, so my guess is lightning legs. Let me see if you've already discarded that or not. 1, 2. You've discarded both copies of that, so that's not it. Let me actually keep this up for a second. Okay, so if it's not lightning legs, it's not. It's quite possible I'm dead in this situation no matter what. I just want to read it out, make sure that I did everything I can to prevent that. You've got both the head stomps out, you've got the spinning bird and the flipping axe ×1. Is there a faster way to read what's left and what's missing, or no? Because I'm just individually going through the discard.
Not really.
That's fine. Good to know. Okay, so both the flipping axes are gone, both the spinning birds are gone. So I'm pretty sure head stomp, spinning bird, lightning legs, flipping axe. That's everything except a single Kikoken, if I recall correctly, out of your deck. And you probably aren't using Kikoken. That would be a mistake. So let's assume it's none of those. Assault is a speed 5 that could reach me pretty easily. Sweep is a speed 3. Or sorry, a low speed, but range 3 that would hit. You have enough gauge for me to consider alts. Hosenka closes and deals damage, but that's 4 gauge. Kikushu, low speed, no guard, some damage. Quite some damage, actually. And if I recall correctly, you have one of those left in your deck. Nope, you've played both. Okay. So it's a basic attack coming at me, most likely. I'm not sure which one just yet, but one of them. At this range, Spike would hit, Assault would hit, Dive would hit. And that's about it.
My UA would give cross plus 0 to 1 range, which is relevant.
Oh, you have a boost in play. I did not factor that in. Thanks for mentioning it. Sucks to lose because you didn't math right. So if I do this and yeah, all of my moves move me towards you, not away. This is probably the I can use the axe kick, which you know I have, to move forward faster than you can do most things except cross, which would take me out. I don't think I have a response that wins against crossed in this position.
As far as I'm aware, that's correct.
So I'm going to disregard that possibility since I can't counter it. I do this every time. Spin the board around. Other than that, Axe Kick doesn't actually hit in this position. It does get me out of range of guard, but it doesn't protect against assault. I'm actually dead to a lot of normals here, so I think I just top deck. Let's see what happens. I will crit it, though. It is the cross, and you have me. GG, sir.
Good game.
So what we were talking about, the speed 6 on cross makes it faster than most things that I would do to protect myself here. Thinking back 2 turns, I'm trying to think how I could have prevented this outcome. making the life trade that I did with sweep. So the turn that I played sweep instead of axe kick when I had the +2/+2, I did that because I was fairly sure you were going to counter axe kick, regardless of what I did.
Yeah,
And
and you were correct on that,
so,
except
mhm.
it led to a checkmate situation.
Yeah, I'm seeing that, and I'm trying to read back. Like, was that a guarantee? I feel as though hitting for a lot of damage in that situation with an unexpected sweep was a good idea, but I could potentially have hit you with the axe kick sufficiently to get through. Would you what would you have played with the plus armor on Spike? Would it have
Uh,
been sufficient
I
to guard
believe
through a
that
counter?
sweep or focus would work. Actually, focus wouldn't, I think, but sweep would. I had one left somewhere. It wasn't in my hand, however.
I was hoping that you would play sweep in response to my sweep. I think that was my plan.
Yeah, I think I would still guard it out though. And I think just kill
With
you in
with 8
response.
damage? Oh,
Uh,
there's no ignores armor on that. Right.
yeah, the spike would give me 10 total defensive stats.
Yeah, no, that would have been enough. That would have been enough. Yeah, the axe kick has ignore armor written on it, but obviously sweep does not.
Yeah,
And even ignoring that, there's guard on the spike boost, isn't there?
yeah. It's
So
plus 1 armor plus 3 guard.
I can candidly say I've very rarely made good use of Spike as a boost before. Seeing it in play in this game was very interesting. It one-to-one countered what my Kuren Senpukaku boost was doing with the +2/+2. Um, I almost feel as though I made the miscall of trying to use that to zone for longer than I could get away with. I probably should have cashed that in for whatever damage I could have.
Yeah, like land me spike boost was a big, like that was a
I wouldn't
big
have
thing.
I wouldn't have been able to keep quite as large a amount of damage, so to speak, but I would definitely have had a safer attack. And with Ken, I can maintain tempo while striking, so I could have drawn into something valuable to keep things going. Instead of being like, well, I don't have a speed 6 or 7 in my hand, so I shouldn't strike now without a follow up.
Yeah,
And I did have enough health to fall back on that I could have tanked one more hit while digging, probably. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the game. I certainly enjoyed playing it. As I've mentioned before, or maybe I haven't, Ken is one of the characters in Street Fighter, Exceed Street Fighter, that I consider one of my mains, just in that I love him. I love his aggression, I love his in your face approach, and I love his bonus on initiative playstyle. Like, for example, this move 7 damage but 11 if you initiate. Gotta love the Shoryuken. Or sure you can. Speed
yeah. I think
7 melee with actual damage and actual guard. That's just fantastic.
I think I landed EX Shinryuken in my first game as Ken. It was great.
That was
I
a
also had
finisher.
Hadoken boosted, so it's just 13 power, speed 7. Deal with it.
That's beautiful. Um, I I will say that the one matchup I've had the most trouble with as Ken has been one of my friends at the FLGS I play at plays Zangief, and Zangief loves when you walk into melee, which is kind of Ken's bread and butter. There's plenty of stuff. There's plenty of counterplay. Don't get me wrong, but uh, just going my default flowchart Ken flip charge 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 tends to backfire against
Yeah,
Zangief.
Keith is very rough for Ken. Ken
Anywho,
has to
hmm?
Ken has to pretend he doesn't have a UA basically.
Yeah, I mean it's generally not the right move against Zangief. You're better off doing other things, and he has good moves that aren't walk towards my opponent. Um, things that I am going to take away from this match as a learning point in particular, trying to think 2 moves ahead is something I probably need to do more of. I'm pretty fixated on trying to read my opponent. What was he thinking? What does he think I'm thinking? And I don't think I do a terrible job at that, but planning after this move what will the next move hold is something I need to do a bit better with.
Yeah, I generally try to play in a safe way where I just like play generally good stuff that's safe and hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, like trying to read me might have limited use as I just play the safe dim that you can't really do much about.
And definitely shows, especially towards the end when the game narrowed and there was not much I could do about most of what you were doing.
Yeah.
Um, it was a good game. I appreciate the game. I'm a run. I'm gonna probably upload this vid sometime tonight, tomorrow. Thanks again for playing. For any viewers, I'm still new at recording Exceed, so I'm open to any advice on try this, try that. I'm not saying I'll do it, but I will listen to it. um, as far as issues with technical stuff or me going on and off Discord to discuss things, if that's an issue, let me know. I don't have to stay in voice chat, but I do think it's nice to hear both people instead of listening to myself for a full 45 minutes. As far as vid length, I'm going to apologize in advance, but I do not intend to narrow my vids to 30 minutes or less yet. Most of the people in my channel I know haven't seen Exceed, and so I feel like it's beneficial to explain and discuss. And honestly, with Street Fighter or Exceed being so new, there's bound to be more people out there who are learning some basic strategy. Alrighty, well, thanks so much for the playing. It was really good to meet you, and I'll keep an eye on out for you in Discord and around.
Yeah, that was a very good game. I enjoyed it a lot.
And as with most fighting games, that Magic Pixel and Down to the Wire Never Give Up is a glorious feeling Exceed captures very beautifully.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time.